Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I'm talking about Love Island USA Season 1, which just finished with 22 episodes, the finale airing on August 7th, 2019. I'm recording this on August 8th. I watched the last two episodes just now because I was traveling the last 2 days, yesterday. And man, first of all, episode 20, that was pretty fantastic. And then I wasn't as into episode 21 and 22 because there wasn't as many like surprises as there was previous to that, because we got down to the final four teams and all of that. Well, first of all, spoilers, ahoy. I am going to talk about, the end of the show. So before I do that, before I talk about who's in the final four and the winner and all that kind of thing, I really recommend watching from the beginning without knowing anything. If you haven't watched any Love Island yet, watch it from the beginning. Don't listen to the rest of this episode. Trust me, just watch it. You'll know in the first episode if you're hooked or not. It's not one of those things like, oh, you got to give it a chance. Like 5 episodes, and you really like it. You will know by the end of the first, well before the end of the first episode, if this show is your thing. And this show is absolutely my thing. It's so good. It's so freaking good. It is so good. It's fantastic. It's so dumb at times, but so amazing other times. And I feel like the show, okay. So spoilers over. I'm going to tell you about what happens on the show. So stop listening, go watch the show. Stop listening, go watch the show. I don't really watch a whole lot of these. I don't watch The Bachelor or anything like that because I know that I'll just get really, really into it like I did with this show. And I also really liked Big Brother. I haven't watched every single season because it airs in the summer, and usually I'm on the road with Drum Corps in the summer. And so I'm not really able to watch all of these episodes of Big Brother. But this year I was not on the road. I only popped in there a couple of days, like one day at a time, here and there. So I was able to watch this show I caught up on like the first 2 weeks of it, like all at once. And then, it just kept up on it every day since then, because this show there's an episode every weekday pretty much. Because it started on a Tuesday and it ended on a Wednesday, so it wasn't like full Monday through Friday, all 5 weeks, but the 3 middle weeks. So week 1 we had 4 episodes. Week 2 through 4 we had 5 episodes. And in week 1 the first episode was a double episode, so that was a solid 5 episodes basically. And then the final week, we just had the 3 episodes with the finale. Normally I don't watch shows like this, because I know that I will like them a lot. And this show, I freaking love it. It's shot very similarly to, Big Brother, which I liked a lot. I've talked about it in the past before that, and then the past and the future and the past later on. I really want to see a WWE Performance Center Big Brother type of show that's shot in the same way. We get a glimpse of that with the Performance Center Combine. They know the cameras are there, like they're not hidden behind glass or anything like that, but it is very much just, they're not playing to the cameras, they're just doing their thing, interacting with each other, all that kind of thing. There is the occasional playing to the camera, like after somebody does something like really impressive or whatnot. It was cool to see. And there's some like coaching going on, especially like one of the guys, he was like cutting a promo basically on to one of the cameras. And then one of the coaches is like, hey, here's a note for you. The camera wasn't rolling. We weren't live on you. Just wait until you get word that the camera is rolling on you, that kind of thing. Like that type of word is cool to see that learning process. But anyway, that was a glimpse into what a performance center Big Brother type of show would be like. And this also, man, I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. And I had heard like on Rooster Teeth podcast, they talked about it a little bit. So that was like kind of in the back of my mind that, oh, Love Island is really good. It's the original UK version. And as it turns out, Hulu has all 5 seasons of Love Island UK. As far as, Love Island, it's just called Love Island there. There was Celebrity Love Island, 2 seasons of that, like 15 years ago. Those are not on Hulu, and I don't really care that those are on Hulu or not, because the new one is a lot better. I started watching that. There are so many more episodes, and they do also like a recap show, and they have like a live audience for when the host is doing stuff, which they don't have all of that kind of thing in here because it takes place. They've filmed it out in Fiji, and that's a pretty cool thing. Like it doesn't need to be in Fiji at all. Like it's totally because they're like, it's basically like the Big Brother house, but it's like on a beach. But I guess it's probably a lot cheaper to build a Big Brother house. I keep talking about Big Brother. It's not the same company that does Big Brother. They'll probably be mad to hear me just say Big Brother so many times. But it's a lot cheaper. I'm sure it's a lot cheaper to build the villa there in Fiji on an island on the beach there than to get than to build it somewhere in Los Angeles or something. So, but it does add something to it, and I think it also kind of helps with their production that since they're like, what is that, like 12 different, what time zone, what time is it now? Oops, let's see. Fiji time zone. Well, I'll say Fiji time now. So like I'm recording this around the same time. I'm recording this about at 7:40, so it'd be like finishing the night's episode. And I am actually would be watching it an hour later. So okay, so it's 1:40 p.m. The next day, on Friday. In Fiji right now. So when they get audience feedback and whatnot, it's from the day before, and they're getting that in the afternoon of the next day, which they would continue filming like overnight for us in the United States, and then that's how they have the next episode ready to go, that kind of thing. So I think that makes a lot of sense to me. To be able to have that turnaround, get that feedback, because they're getting the feedback from the show like during the day, like the middle of the afternoon, to be able to do all the evening stuff. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. Okay. So the premise of the show is that you have couples, and every few episodes they have a recoupling ceremony where they like add people to the house and things like that. And so whether it's the girls or the boys, whoever has the least numbers in the house, they're the ones who get to pick who they want to couple with. And so then the leftovers are then excused from the island. They're no longer in the running for the competition. It's not, so it's like, it's kind of competitive, but it seemed so much like, for the most part, especially the final 4 couples, they were all about like finding someone they connect with. Like there was very little talk about winning the money. It's $100,000 prize at the end that's determined by a vote from the audience. And there was like no talk of that at all. And then once it finally came, I was like, oh, this is part of the thing too. Okay. And so the last episode like feels pretty different from the whole rest of it, because then they're finally like, Oh yeah, we are playing this game. It has pretty solid ratings throughout the whole thing. Oh, episode 20, more people should have watched episode 20. It's so good. But I mean the least successful episode 1.92 million viewers. That was episode 19. And the most successful episode it would be the premiere. Let's see. Very little drop off from the premiere to episode 2. 2.61 million. It was a very strong start, and then the finale was 2.54 million. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that watch it on CBS All Access. If there's even a fraction of the country that is like me and watched on CBS All Access. I misspoke on an episode before when I was talking about this. If you are just tuning into this because it's the Love Island episode, then you probably haven't heard me talk about all this. But I had assumed because on the app it said live and on demand. I thought that it was like Big Brother that they had the live feeds going as well. That is not the case. That would be really cool, but also kind of dangerous. But that's the same thing with Big Brother. But the focus of Big Brother is not romance and love. So it doesn't seem as much of a hotbed for the hot and steamy action. But so that was another, even though, okay, so of the final four, like really everybody, there were like a couple of people here and there saying like, ooh, I want to hook up with her, like I want to do it and that kind of thing. But they like got eliminated like pretty quick. Like everybody was really, for the most part, very good at sussing out who was like there for what they thought was the wrong reasons, which would be to, you know, to hook up or just to win the. Nobody really talked about winning the game, but maybe they selectively didn't have that. But let's see. Where's the list of the contestants? Why wasn't there a... Let's see. Oh, I need to go to that seasons page. Okay, so yeah, I think that maybe like totally changed maybe what their intent was from the beginning, or you know, they have pretty good control over what's going on, how they want to shape the show. But it did not feel like really a competition. It felt like a real bummer whenever somebody had to recouple, whenever somebody was sent home, that kind of thing. And I thought that it really added something to the show that it had me more invested than I probably would have if they were all about just winning money. And like the rules for what they do at the end and all that kind of stuff, like it wasn't talked about at all throughout the entire show until it actually happened there at the end. Because, so at the beginning, like, what was it? Episode 2, beginning of episode 2, when, the boys had to recouple with, no, it wasn't episode 2. They thought that, Yeah, it was beginning of episode 2. They had to recouple because there's one more girl, because Kira comes in, and Cashel is originally with Caro, and he decides to couple with Kira. And so Caro is left out. She's the odd woman out, and she's established as single. And it was said before this that they would be at risk of being sent home. And so she was like really, really worried about it. But shortly after that, so I felt like, oh, that's a real bummer. I thought that they were really getting along well together, Cashel and Caro. But as it turned out, like that was absolutely that was the right move. And then like all the drama with them, the kind of awkwardness at times between Cashel and Kira, like it was so obvious like from like a couple of episodes after that, that like those two like really really like each other, like even though they were trying to like kind of play it cool and be like, oh yeah, I'm open to other people and that kind of thing, and like getting to know the other people. And Kara, or not Kara, Kira especially, when she ended up choosing, was it Eric instead of Cashel, and Cashel got sent home at that point. Like, what are you doing? That was the why did you do that? That was the stupidest decision, and she immediately regretted it, and it was so obvious, and that she should have been with Cashel there like the entire time. So jumping ahead, that was my favorite part of the whole show. That storyline going through there, between those two, like she would talk about how she missed him and all that kind of thing. And there was all kind of other conversations where she's like the thing with Weston, and then also the very brief consideration her and Emily, like, oh, would she actually choose Emily, or would Emily actually choose Kira to pair up? That would be really weird. Not weird, but like really like unexpected and like totally break the game kind of. But in that episode, it actually did. There was a curveball, completely different curveball. And that was when Kelsey, instead of choosing one of the three remaining guys, or the two remaining guys, said, I'm taking myself out of the game. So that left just one of them being able to stay in the game. Because it would have, if she had chosen someone, then just one person was being left out. But that meant two people had to leave, and I think it was Eric and Anton. Yeah, they were both dumped that day instead of Kelsey continuing with one of them. So yeah, man. Let's see, who else was. I remember. Oh yeah, and then Kira ended up with Jared after. Yeah, she ended up coupling with Jared after Eric, because she didn't have that connection with Eric, and she didn't have that connection with Jared at all. And it was, yeah. So when we get to the 5 couples, her and Jared are eliminated by vote. And like the whole like episode leading up to that, and the previous episode, she was like, oh, I'm in love with Cashel, or like that kind of thing. And she's like, as soon as I get out of here, I'm like ready to be done, because I'm gonna call him. Like the first thing to do is call him and all that kind of thing. And then she does, and he beats her to the punch. He has like a message, like a video message for her and everything, and it's at the ceremony. And then she calls him afterwards, and he's actually there, surprises her. Like, that was so great. That was all in episode 20. I love that. And yeah, that was probably my favorite thing of the whole season. That whole, all of that, even though it made me so mad at times, but I think that's why a big reason why it paid off. So it paid off even more. I was reading it in reverse. That's why I was confused. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's in reverse chronological order for when they exited. But we ended up with the final 4. The couples of Emily and Weston, Caro and Ray. Oh, so Emily and Weston, they got 4th place. Caro and Ray, and I called it as it went down the line, even though I was really rooting for a different team to win. But Ray and Caro, or Raymond and Caroline. I don't know, her name was Caroline. I don't think they ever said her full name on the show. They definitely never said anybody's last name. I don't think it was all everybody's first names. But they got 3rd place. And then Dylan and Alexandra, they got 2nd place. And I was kind of hoping that maybe they would win, because I really liked both of them. They were like so fun and happy. Like, I think they were the most fun and happy couple of all of the actual couples that ended up coming out of this. And 3 of the 4 like are officially boyfriend girlfriend coming out of the show, and we'll see how long they actually. It would be awesome if all of them did. Only Weston and Emily, they did not like make it official, so to speak, but it did really sound like they were gonna try to make things happen outside. But also they're like they live really far away from each other, whereas Dylan and Alexander, they both live in California, so like they're really close. And then Kira and Casual, they also live really close to each other in California as well. So yeah, that's really cool for them. Anyway, Zach and Elizabeth, they're coupled since day one, and at times it was it got a little bit boring because they were just so into each other. They didn't really interact with other people very much. So there are some stretches where they didn't really do anything interesting, and the most fun that was had was that the others would make fun of them for just how into each other they are and that kind of thing. But it was so awesome for them that they won. And then the twist, or the rules at the end, is that they had two envelopes, one that said 0, one that said 100,000. They don't know which one. They choose from them, and then the person who gets 100,000, they decide whether to share or keep it for themselves. So apparently that's very similar to Bachelor Pad, but they had more of the moral conundrum of where both people either picked share or keep, and that was I guess was Maggie told me to check out the finale of season 3 for that it was pretty crazy. But yeah, it was so interesting. I feel like they kind of broke the game a little bit, because like it seemed like none of them actually cared about winning the money at all, except for Dylan. He was like, oh, I kind of want to win now. I'm in the top 2. He reminded me a lot of Cesaro also, even though he's not Swiss, he's from Long Island, but he like sounds so much like Cesaro. And so anyway, yeah, they're all like, oh, we feel like they're all full of crap saying this or whatever, but it seems like they're all so happy to just like have found someone they click with so well and all of that, that it seemed like it kind of broke the game part of the game, but I was totally fine with that, and I was still a happy ending anyway. But like, yeah, all of them were like so excited to like be with somebody they care about so much and all of that. And it was kind of cool. Let's see. Looking here, who is the oldest? The oldest person on the show is 30, and the youngest is 21. You had Alana, who's 21, and then Caro was 21. So that's interesting. Just a 10-year range there for everybody. But yeah, that's oh, and I didn't even mention the narrator is so freaking funny. It's like at times like the show has its own riff tracks made for it, which is just like the best. Who is the narrator? Isn't listed on this page. Oh, Matthew Hoffman is the narrator, and Ariel Vandenberg is the host. So she appeared on screen. What has she been in? What have I seen her in? She's been in all kinds of stuff. Lots of episodes of Greek. All kinds of guest spots, it looks like. And a few bit parts in movies, it seems like. Nothing that it's an epic movie. Spring Breakdown. I haven't seen that. But anyway, that's not important. The narrator, he was really funny. He would say things like, oh, I wonder what the pool looks like. And then the camera tilts down. He's like, thank you, Tim. I think that was the name of the cameraman. The continuity, the continuous name of the camera. I don't know if it's actually a cameraman Tim or whatever the name was. But it's little stuff like that. And then he would, in kayfabe, in kayfabe, he'd be the one sending the text to them. And that's another thing. Whenever they get a text, they're like, "We got a text!" And they all start screaming, and it's really funny. I like that a lot. And it's not that isn't a thing at the beginning of the first season of the UK series, but I feel like I remember on Rooster Teeth they were talking about that element of it. And so I'm looking forward to seeing the genesis of that when they start doing that, because it's carried over here. And then finally, the last thing I want to talk about is that the really the only thing that I didn't like. Okay, there are two phrases that were used so much, and I was kind of annoyed with myself because I almost used it, but I used something similar. I said they were clicking, like that kind of thing. They don't say that very much, but it's so close to what they do say. They say vibe, and vibing. So that got on my nerves just a little bit. But what really got on my nerves at the end of the day is that they say at the end of the day way too much. Way too much. And that's kind of a thing. I think when you spend time with a group, just that group of people a lot, that you pick up on phrases from each other and you'd start using those phrases a lot. And that was clearly one of them. It's part of the Love Island season 1 vernacular. So I hope that season 2, that none of them ever say that phrase. That's my only wish for season 2, is that nobody says at the end of the day. So yeah, if you're still listening to this episode and you have not watched this season, I hope you still go and watch it, because it's amazing. It's so funny, and it's there's some really heartfelt moments as well. And yeah, there was like one episode where they were like, the narrator's like, why can't somebody have a non-diplomatic argument for once? And how, like, really summarizes this season. Like, everybody really got along and like didn't actually want to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. And they did want to work things out. That it kind of, that was another thing. Okay. So they were all there. It seemed like everybody was there because they really wanted to find somebody, like find their soulmate and find love and all of that. But at the same time, it took like a really long time before anybody had sex. It wasn't until like episode 17 or something like that. I remember it being like when it finally did. Somebody finally went to the hideaway. And more than just the making out happens, and like it took this long. That's kind of crazy. But then like everybody the second to last episode, right before everybody met their families, that's kind of awkward. But anyway, I don't know if everybody. I think like almost everybody did, like all in the same. Kind of weird. But anyway, that was another thing I totally forgot. The family thing. There were all kinds of fun challenges that they had throughout, which like didn't have like any real like prizes. It was just like things to do to like get to know each other and things like that. All that kind of stuff also really reminded me of a lot of Unreal season 3, because they like introduce all of that kind of thing, and it's like really close to like this kind of format, and they're like pulling out the daily episodes. I know that it was based on the Bachelor experiences working on the Bachelor, so maybe the Bachelor is a lot like this, and I don't even know it. Especially like Bachelor in Paradise, where it is like the couples kinds of things, I think. And then of course Bachelor Pad, like I was talking about earlier. But I'm not gonna open that can of worms. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm just gonna stick to watching Love Island. Go watch the UK seasons. The one challenge. Oh my god, the one challenge when they this long episode. I thought this was gonna be a quick one, but there's one challenge where they had to they're like going back and forth on this kind of racetrack thing, but on a picnic table, And on one side, the guy had to put a bunch of food into his mouth, and then they'd scoot across to the other side, and then he had to spit the food into the girl's mouth, and then just spit it. Like it was it was so gross. It was so stupid. I don't understand. Like, but it was also hilarious. But why? Why? I would. I don't know if I would like the show more or less if they didn't have that challenge happen, but man, and I don't know if it would have counted if he just like grabbed like the whole milk because they had to do like a sundae. Yeah, it was a sundae. If they grabbed the whole bowl and just held that in his mouth and then like transferred it over, I think that would have been a good. Maybe it went against the spirit of the game, but to have warm melted ice cream and spit it into another person's it's so gross, but not as gross as like eating bugs and stuff, which is happens a few times on Survivor, the eating challenges. I hope the next season has an eating challenge. They didn't have one this last season. We'll see. Also, no, there wasn't an auction, Survivor auction. I missed those. But anyway, that's I think they stopped having those because nobody would bid on stuff early. I think how you solve that is you bid on you have the really good thing first. Everybody one person spends all their money. They think that's the best thing that's going to be there. And twist, the very final thing is like something like even better than that, or like equally just like one notch below that thing. Like maybe one person buys right at the top, you buy an advantage at the next challenge, or at the end that you buy a clue for a hidden immunity idol. Now that could be something. I don't think they did that in a Survivor auction before. Now I'm talking about Survivor. So anyway, go watch this show. If I hope you've already watched this show, having listened to this. I'm going to title this Love Island USA Season 1 so that hopefully you didn't click thinking it was about Love, the original show. And once I do watch the original show, I'll talk about those a lot more. From this whole season, I think my favorite person, man, even though she made me, my favorite girl on the show, even though she just made me so mad a lot with stuff she was doing, is Kira. It did add the drama, but not like the kind of drama that's like this is ruining everything for everybody else. Also, and Alexandra, I like Alexandra a lot. I think those two are my favorite girls. And then my favorite guys, I'd say, were Dylan, mostly because he reminds me of Cesaro so much. And, when he was more, when he wasn't so just wrapped up in the couple, I really liked Zach a lot. He was interacting with everybody else a lot more, which happened more in the at the beginning, very, very beginning, and then like in the last like 2 weeks, and very much the last week. So I think those are my favorite people in there, and my favorite couple was Dylan and Alexandra, obviously because both of them were my top two favorites people. And but yeah, I would have been surprised. I would have been happy for any of the final four to win, but I would have been very surprised if Kara and Ray or Weston and Emily had won. But I would not have been mad that they won at all. Kind of figure the day one couple would be it there, because Ray and Caro. Ray didn't enter until day 12, so they're not a day one couple. And then Emily didn't enter until day 18, and then Weston, that was like his fourth coupling. So yeah, is there a chart of all the couples? Yes, there is. That's interesting. Anyway, excuse me. Yeah, this show is awesome. I love it. Love it. I think next season, well, actually, it probably will be hard. I think I will be on the road a lot more next summer, so it'll probably be hard to do a daily episode. But maybe that's like all I do. I just forget about doing the wrestling episodes and just do like a big catch up wrestling episode and just talk about this every single day as I've watched it. But anyway, yeah, this show would have been a whole lot of fun to do a daily episode about. So maybe I will. Stay tuned. As I finish each UK season, I'll do an episode about those, I think. I kind of like it. The thing I like most about it so far is that they can swear. I'm sure that they can swear, but they probably get yelled at for swearing like they do on Big Brother. They're like, watch your language. They come over on the intercom, or maybe they get texted, hey, stop swearing over there. And then they end up just saying at the end of the day a whole lot instead of swearing. That it's not a placeholder for swearing, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. As I watch the UK seasons, I'll do episodes about each of those. But those seasons are a lot longer. Like there's 220 episodes for 5 seasons, which is a crazy amount of episodes per season. But it seems like every like 5th episode is a recap type of thing. Is I haven't been like watching it intently so far. I've had it on while I was like watching Fire Emblem and stuff like that. So stay tuned for all of that. Man, I need to watch NXT now. Get caught up on that because in the morning, in 12 hours, I will be on an airplane headed to Toronto for SummerSlam weekend. So there's a lot to do. I still need to pack, actually. But I like my clothes like set aside, but I don't have them in a suitcase or anything. But yeah, let me know what you thought about Love Island USA season 1 by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen. And I'll see you next time. Talking about whatever the next episode is. And next year for more Love Island USA. I can do those daily episodes for each individual one. But anyway, that's it. Stay safe out there in all of the infinite multiverses, and I'll see you next time here on TIW Podcast. Bye.